Hello everyone, Adrian Hardy back again with another victim I can talk to today about his treatment for prostate cancer. And Darius today is going to tell us about his experience that started back last year when he was on holiday in the Peak District and he came home with a present he hasn't anticipated. So Darius, carry on from this point and tell us all about
Right.
life.
Basically, yes, it sort of all kicked off on holiday. Prior to that, I had an issue with not being able to pee, which I saw my GP about. He prescribed some tablets to sort of ease that process. Midway through the holiday, those tablets started working really well, and I couldn't do anything but. So, ended up in admitted to Derby Royal Inn Hospital, Royal Infirmary, where initial diagnosis indicated potential prostate cancer, which was causing the urine retention. So I was put on a catheter and then ultimately transferred back to Worthing, where following a biopsy, the presence of prostate cancer, which had metastasized, sort of spread, was confirmed. And at that point, I was offered a sort of potential place on the Stampede 2 clinical trial.
So tell us, Stampede 2, what difference does that make to the treatment you're going to get?
So basically, the clinical trial involves the intravenous injection of a nuclear liquid, which directly targets the prostate cancer. So it just goes for the cancer and nothing else. The trial has two sort of groups. One is the one that actually receives the drug, and the other one is like a control group that doesn't. So you just be on the normal medication. And the ethos of the trial is that I'm on the normal medication that I would be for the diagnosis, plus the nuclear Stampede 2 material. So the ethos being that you attack the cancer with everything at once, rather than one thing followed by another thing, followed by another thing. So basically, the initial consultation following the biopsy, where I was informed that yes, you've unfortunately got prostate cancer and it has spread. Then at the same consultation, I was offered the chance to go on the Stampede True trial, and it seemed like a sensible thing to do given the circumstances. So I was given a lot of information about the trial. There's obviously lots of consent forms, etc. But they were fairly straightforward, and the information was quite clear. So I was lucky enough to be randomized by a computer to actually receive the nuclear material and be on the actual, medication side of the trial. And it took place over a 3-month period, really, 2 sessions every month, for a total of 6 sessions.
And I mean, what impact on you personally did it make, health-wise, physically wise? Any changes there?
Not really, no. I mean, the actual trial, I've had a lot of medication on top of the trial. So the only impact really has been from the hormone therapy, which is part of the standard medication, if you like, the non-trial side, which gives me hot flashes. And that's the only side effect I've had. So none of the other medication, including the trial medication, has had any impact on me health-wise. I feel fine. Obviously, the trial, due to the radioactive nature of the medication of the trial, you're radioactive for a few days. So there's certain limitations of what you can do while that, for 3 days after the trial's completed, or each session is completed.
But you're fortunate in a way, as you say to me, you live alone in a flat, so you haven't got the issue about sharing toilets or keeping.
Yes, there's no issue sharing toilets, or if you've got a partner being in the same bed, etc., etc. So because for those 3 days you would have to sleep in a separate room, use separate toilets, all sorts of, be careful, because everything coming out of you is radioactive for those days. So, but like for me, in my circumstance, that was fairly straightforward.
Yeah. And as well as part of the standard treatment, you're on chemotherapy. You said to me 4 tablets a day.
4 tablets a day.
Before you went on this trial, and continuing now in perpetuity, as far as you're aware, until you're
as far as I'm aware, until the doses change or the medication changes or whatever. So, but yes, so those, I didn't realise myself that chemotherapy could be a tablet form of medication. So I've been taking 4 tablets a day since last December. No ill effects as far as I can see. The results in terms of my PSA count have been pretty good, in terms of it's reduced from a figure around about 270 to about 1, which is a very good result. So hopefully that a combination of all these medications is the cause of that.
Right. Well, that sounds really good. So in terms of recommending to other people, would you want to participate in a trial like this? Would you actually words for it? You said you actually had a friend who was a radiographer in Cork who you spoke to when you talked about this.
Yeah.
And he said, "Get on with it, lad. Get on with it." Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say yes. I mean, it's a great opportunity if it's presented. and and hopefully it will have the intended result.
Right. And
So
so from now on,
saying yes to the trial, absolutely.
yeah, it's lutetium 177, I think, is the actual
Yes.
drug or radioactive element you're being given. And so from now on, you're going to get a few more CT scans, MRI scans, and things to see what the impact of it
Yes,
has been compared to the control sample.
The trial team after the trial, and they said, yeah, it's probably a PET CT scan will be done. I've got a regular CT scan next week programmed in, and then thereafter there might be a PET CT scan, which is more targeted form of scan, I guess. And then we'll see what needs to happen. I think the initial set plan from the oncologist was potentially some radiotherapy, but I guess that whether that happens or how that happens will be a result of what the scans show.
Right. Well, in that case, Darius, we may well be back for episode number 2
yeah,
at some point in the future. So anything else you'd like to say about your experience so far?
I think so far it's been, given the circumstances, it's been very positive. I think that the system is very well set up for dealing with prostate cancer. So there's been the communication's been good. With smartphones and things, the booking appointments and things has been easy. You get the text message reminders, so everything runs pretty smoothly. It's so I've been it's been nothing but good. The team at Brighton are great, really nice people. So it's been a positive experience given the nature of why I'm experiencing it. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Having cancer is not good, but actually getting positive treatment by it is actually
absolutely
afterwards, isn't it? Right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and I'll keep in touch with you. And if we get some more positive feedback, or if we don't get positive, but hopefully it is positive feedback, we can get a catch up from you as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye now.
Cheerio. Bye.